It's day 26, and today in our Old Testament readings we're looking at the book of Job. And you might be wondering why we're looking at Job now, because in a normal Bible Exodus comes after Genesis, but we're looking at Job because his life was set around the same time as Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and so that's why we're doing it now. And the book of Job is all about suffering. That's the whole thing. We're introduced to that today. After a short introduction, giving us a little bit of the kind of behind the scenes, we get straight on with the suffering. And the whole book is exploring this and different people's opinions and different people's wrestles with why is it that horrific things happen to good people? And that's the question. And they'll be looking at that from different angles, and they'll be coming to some strange conclusions at times, and all of that is ahead. And one of the reasons why Job, even though Job can be tough at times because it's quite a long way of looking at one question, the reason why it's so good for us is because it's a really real issue. It's a very real question. For all of us, at some point in our life, we are confronted with a period of suffering, and periods of suffering at different levels, in different ways. Suffering is a part of our life in this broken and fallen world. And so it's a good question. It's a good book to look at. There's a couple of things I want us to draw out, because obviously we're going to keep going with Job now for quite a few days, and we'll be looking at that in pieces as we go. But I think one of the things I want to look at today is the fact that this opens up with talking about Job as being a blameless man who fears God. And when it says that he's blameless, it doesn't mean that he never sinned. There's only one man who's never sinned, and that man is Jesus. So it didn't mean that he never sinned, but it means that the way that he lived, like spiritually and in his lifestyle, he was directed towards God, I suppose. He was submitted to God in that. So this is a good man. And we see his heart when the disasters first happen, his amazing response that we read in chapter 1. Verse 21, and it's stunning considering what has just happened to him. He says this: "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I shall depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away." And then he says, "May the name of the Lord be praised." His first response is to worship. His first response is such a humble one before God. And I heard someone say once, "Don't ever doubt in the dark what you knew to be true in the light." And I think for all of us, there are things that when times are good, we can hold on to, and we can say, God is faithful and God is good, and all the things that as we're going through the Bible, we learn and we remember about God's character. And I think one of the things is very quickly, not surprisingly, Job's eyes start to turn away from that and to turn to the hard question, and it's not surprising. But the thing for all of us is that we don't come to a place of, when the darkness seems to be crowding in on us, let's never forget that God remains good, that God remains faithful, that God remains loving, and he always will. I look forward to exploring more of Job with you tomorrow.